Hello learners, this is Habiba with Pedagogy of Social Sciences with the topic School Curriculum and Resources in Social Sciences. Previously we have learnt about two topics which are broad in their sense itself. Social sciences with the context of learning, and then aims and objectives of learning social sciences. Now we are going to deal with the broad topic, that is school curriculum and resources in social sciences, with the subtopic curriculum development process. Let's start. Introduction. Now what is curriculum development? First of all, let's understand before going into the process. Curriculum development is a process of improving the curriculum. Various approaches have been used in developing curricula. So, curriculum development is a process to improve the curriculum. Now, what is curriculum actually? Curriculum is the prescribed, content or concepts which to be taught in the whole academic year in the schools or educational institutions. So, commonly used approaches consist of analysis, that is need and task analysis, then design, that is objective design, selecting, that means choosing appropriate learning or teaching methods and appropriate assessment methods, and then formation, that means formation of the curriculum implementation committee or curriculum evaluation committee, and lastly review, that is curriculum review committee. That means a board will be there to make this curriculum to be taught in the school for the whole year to the students in the schools of each grade. So commonly there are some approaches to be used to make this curriculum. That is, first one is analysis, that is need and task analysis. What type of curriculum, what is the need of having that particular concepts to be taught in the schools? Then they will design. While designing, what is the objective of designing this particular curriculum? They have to write the objectives. Then selecting, that is choosing appropriate learning or teaching methods and appropriate assessment methods. That means whatever suitable to the learner centered, then that kind of curriculum should be opted, and appropriate teaching learning method should be there, and also what kind of assessment. Earlier normal examinations used to be there, that means quarterly, half yearly, annual exam. When we were children, we used to write that kind of exams, unit tests, then quarterly, then half yearly, then annual. Whole syllabus we have to cover to give the examination. Later on, slowly different approaches they have taken. They chose the nowadays assessment, that is formative assessment, summative assessment. Now again different things might come in the future. So what kind of assessment methods to be used, they have to select. Then formation, that is to implement some committee should be there, evaluation, whether this made curriculum is appropriate or not, how to implement this curriculum, that committee will decide. And then review, whatever curriculum is made, the committee will review the curriculum whether that is appropriate, perfect or not. Now before going again, let's understand the meaning of curriculum, how this word has come. Latin word, this word has come from a Latin word, that is curricere, that is curricure also we can say, means a race course or a runway. That is, in education, what is that? Means work field of student, where they will learn what is the work they have to do, work field of students, that is race course we say. Course means curriculum, race refers to students' experiences and activities, simply a course of study in general meaning, that is curriculum, that means a course of study. Now let's take one definition here to understand more thoroughly. Curriculum is a tool in the hands of artist, that is teacher, to mold his material, that is pupil, according to his ideal, that is objectives. In this studio is school. Very nicely given this definition by Cunningham. Curriculum is a tool. Who will use this tool? The teacher. Why? To mold the material. Who are the material here? The pupil. According to objectives prescribed earlier itself, they will write the objectives to be achieved from the students. Where? In the school. So this is the best definition we can remember easily and understand easily. Now, while the definition of curriculum has been altered in response to social forces and expectations for the school, the process of curriculum development has remained constant. It is a basic cycle involving the processes of analysis, design, implementation and evaluation. Just now we understood the process, what all steps will be there. So definition of curriculum can change by the different educationists, their thoughts and views, and educational institutions' expectations regarding that they can change. But the process of curriculum development remains constant only, same. It can never change. So let's understand one by one analysis. What is analysis? What educational purposes shall the school seek to attain? What do they do in this analysis? What question they have to answer here? What educational purposes shall the school seek to attain? What are the things educationally they want to achieve, these educational institutions, that they will attain by in this analysis? Then design, what educational experiences can be provided that are likely to attain these purposes? So what are the experiences should be provided to attain the before said purposes? Then implementation. How can these educational experiences be effectively organized? Obviously, how they will organize, how to implement, how to execute the things. Then evaluation. How can we determine whether these purposes are being attained? Obviously, at the end of the day, we should evaluate ourselves that whether these implemented curriculum or the design, it is the purpose is solved or not, that they have to see. So what happens in the curriculum development process? Let's have a quick look here in the nutshell. Design. First they will design, then they will develop. Whatever design is done, they will develop. Then they will implement. Then after implementation, whether everything is going correctly or not, they will monitor. And then after monitoring, evaluate how much they successfully implemented this design. They will evaluate, and lastly they will review. Again, after reviewing, any defects are found, then again they will design. So this is the curriculum development process. Let's understand in detail this curriculum development process. Teaching is a complex endeavor. Obviously, it's not easy. Teaching is not easy. Everybody think that teaching is a very easy profession. Whoever are not becoming engineers and doctors, they will jump into the teaching profession. It's not like that. It's a very dedicated profession. Lots of efforts will be there in this. It's a very complex endeavor. The following steps for curriculum development may be useful as you think about your course setup and teaching methodology. Let's see here what are the stages in the process of curriculum development. There are basically 4 stages of curriculum development, that is formulation of objectives, then selection and organization of appropriate learning material, then selection of suitable learning experiences, then selection of suitable material for evaluation of curriculum. See, these are the basic stages. One by one, let's understand in detail. First one is formulation of objectives. The objectives of teaching formulated and determined in behavioral terms. While formulating and determining objectives, following points should be kept in mind. Let's see what are the things we should keep in mind before formulating the objectives. That the set of objectives formulated should indicate both the desired behavior and the type of situation in which it is to occur. That means what kind of objectives we should write, that they should indicate both desired. If we teach these topics or this curriculum, desired behavioral change will be there or not, and the type of situation where this can occur. And an objective should be expressed in terms of desired pupil behavior rather than of teacher behavior. Already constructivist approach says that everything should be learner centered, not teacher centered. That is, learner's behavior is important, that should be expressed. Then an objective should be specifically stated so that it is possible to infer some appropriate learning activities. So objectives should be such that specifically, not in general, they should be specified so that we can assume what kind of appropriate learning activities could be involved in that learning situations. Then second one is selection and organization of appropriate learning material. That is, the selection of suitable content, what to be taught, depends to a great extent on the extent of those basic considerations that underline in the formulation of objectives. So suppose we will write the objectives and we will do something else, that will not go. So whatever objectives are written, that should be, that kind of suitable content should be there. For example, the objectives recognize significant aspects of learning like contents or meanings. Obviously, when we have any curriculum, main content is very important. If it is not interesting for the learners, they will never understand anything. They should understand the content with the meaning of the concepts. Then conceptual understanding. After understanding the meaning, they should thoroughly understand the conceptual understanding should be there. Then they will have the problem. If they understand the concepts, they will develop problem solving approach. They will have the reasoning power to decide whether it is correct or not. Then the attitude. What kind of attitude we should develop, that is also very important. Sensitivity should be developed among the learners. Then collaboration, the teamwork, they should work together. That kind of curriculum should be made, selected. Then concepts play an important role in the reasoning and also facilitate the learning of communication skills. Obviously, when they enter into the school, some children may be shy, some children may be overactive. Everything they should keep in mind. All the learners are not alike. Every individual is unique. So, what kind of concepts they should take? It should be for all the learners. That means the concepts play very important role to develop the reasoning power and also the communication. The power of communication also very important when they go outside in the society. This communication skill only can help to go in achieve their goals. So great emphasis should be placed upon those basic concepts and skills of learning, thinking and problem solving that most people should know in order to function intelligently as members of society, obviously. Number third, selection of suitable learning experiences. That is, the concept of learning experience as it emerges from the thinking about the learner and the learning principles accepted as the basis for objectives can be broadly described as a desired change in the mental makeup of a child, and it can be brought about through activities leading to the discovery of connections, relationships and meaning which have significance in the directing or ordering of conduct. That is a very, very important step, this one. What kind of suitable learning experience should be selected? That means the activities which will lead to discover. The student should think and go beyond the limits of innovations, relationships and meanings and the significance of those concepts, and directing towards ordering of conduct that should be. This is very, very important. Learning experience envisaged here places great importance on the pupil and the learning situation instead of on the leather and the content. The proper organization of learning experiences depends upon a number of factors such as age, needs and previous experiences of the learners. Obviously, what kind of content should be selected should see the age, which age they fall in and what kind of content should be developed for them, and need, what is the need of developing that content, whether it is helpful for them or not, and also the previous experience in the previous class, the connection should be there in the further class. The needs of particular community, obviously they will teach which kind of students they will come. According to that particular community, what are the needs of them we should see. Then abilities of the children, obviously particular stage, what are the abilities we can develop, that kind of content should be selected. Then facility available in the school, whether if they are giving so many projects and things or their activities are there, all those things can be easily available to the students or not, that should be there. Then readiness, maturity and capabilities of the child, obviously learner center all together, overall development of the child. Then attention and interest of the learner, obviously if we are putting some content means the learner should be interested to learn more and more in further classes. Each teacher should feel free to adjust the objectives, content and activities to suit his or her requirements. However, the following criteria should be kept in view while selecting and organizing learning experiences. So, obviously the teacher plays a very important role in implementation of this curriculum and taking the students to next level. So, the teacher should feel free to adjust all the objectives and the content and the activities according to the requirements and according to the situations. So, let's see what are the selecting organization, what should be kept in mind, what is the view while selecting and organizing learning experiences. Let's see here one by one. Learning experience should be appropriate to behavior changes defined under objectives. Obviously, how should be the learning experiences? They should be appropriate to change where written in the under defined objectives. It should not be like that. Whatever objectives are written, exactly the teacher may come across the same. Sometimes some change also can be there. Then they should be suitable for the content area. Then they should be practicable. Obviously, we should not think beyond the level of the students. It should be practically applied. They should be adequate and effective. Now, next one is selection of suitable material for evaluation of curriculum. Obviously, evaluation is a very, very important aspect and stage. Evaluation and curriculum are regarded as closely related parts of the same educative process, not as distinct and separate functions. They are both together, curriculum and evaluation. No curriculum can therefore be said to have been planned without laying down some basic principles of evaluation. Evaluation comes in at the planning stage when objectives are identified. The needs, interests, attitudes and abilities of children should be kept in mind while selecting suitable material for the evaluation of the curriculum. Then national agencies like the National Council of Educational Organization and the Council of Boards of School Education need to undertake the following tasks. Let's see what are those tasks. Laying down the expected levels of attainment in each curricular area of all the stages of school education, and then developing conceptual materials and prototypes of child-centered, activity-oriented and competency-based teaching learning materials. Very, very important point. What kind of conceptual material should be there? Prototype on child-centered. We should register in our mind always child-centered, activity-oriented and competency-based teaching learning materials. Obviously, when they go in further level, they should have that competency-based curriculum, which should, competency-based teaching learning material, which will help in further development of the child. Then generating various kinds of tests, very, very important. How far the learners understood the content they should see, which could be meaningfully employed for assessing cognitive and non-cognitive learning outcomes, making them available to the state agencies. Then organizing training programs for paper setters of different boards. Now let's conclude the topic. Curriculum development is a process in which different components such as formulation of curriculum policy, curriculum research, curriculum planning, its implementation and then its evaluation play an important role. The curricular framework generates creative thinking at various levels of decision making such as the national, state, regional and district levels. It provides a great deal of flexibility to provide space for local specificity and contextual realities. The impact of the school curriculum is so crucial for national and state policies that in most of the countries of the world, this responsibility is shouldered by various government and national level organizations and agencies. In fact, no country can afford to ignore the curriculum development process. This is very, very important because the learners, the future citizens' life is dependent on these contents and concepts so that they can apply in their real life situations. So we come to the end of this class. Thanks for your attention and time. As motivation, please do like, share, subscribe and comment below. Happy learning.